New York is now the largest state in the nation with a K through 12 bell-to-bell cell phone ban because of all of you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jamie DiDonna. I am the secondary principal here at Catskill High School, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the new cell phone policy being approved by the board. Part of the process is hearing from students and parents and getting questions and feedback before it goes to the board for final approval. Essentially, it is a bell-to-bell policy that the Governor Hochul had passed in June of 2024. It has to be enacted this year, September 2025. It basically says that all electronic devices should be put away from bell to bell, from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. This really came out of a statewide conferences, meetings that Governor Hochul had with all different school districts and different affiliations, the PTAs, the superintendents, the principals, the teachers, the students, the parents, that really said how the cell phone policy was really interfering with learning. Not only our scholastic learning, but a social learning how to interact with one another. She put a law into place. So every school in the state will have to follow this policy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's a lot of information that's going to come out. You guys are going to ask some questions. Hopefully I can answer everything. If I can't, I will get back to you. This is really a common sense policy. This allows students to focus on learning, which is why you're here. You're also here to socialize, learn how to socialize with one another, learn how to get along with one another, learn how to communicate with one another, because that is what life is all about. Life is about face-to-face interactions, and this common sense policy really allows kids to develop that while they're in school. I know the kids have a lot of questions, and parents, but I'll just give you an overview. When students come in, they will have a Yonder pouch. A Yonder pouch cuts off all access to the internet. But the kids will also power it down, put it in a Yonder pouch. It will lock, electric lock. While the kids are here, they will keep them either in their lockers or in their backpacks, not in their sweatshirts, not in their pockets. On their way out, there are magnets that will unlock it. If a student, for any reason, needs to communicate with their parent during the day, emergency comes up, and the only way to get in touch with their parent is to use a cell phone, they can come to the main office, we will unlock it, and they can communicate with their parent. Otherwise, kids and parents can call the main office, come to the main office, they can email the main office. There will be someone always at the desk waiting to take phone calls, or being able to respond to emails. A lot of our communication goes through something called Parent Square. Parent Square is a portal by which the district can send out messages to parents, so any kind of emergency will be able to be sent out through Parent Square. We're really going to utilize that for communication this year, more so than it has in the past. This is not meant to be disciplinary. This is not meant to suspend students that have their cell phones. We are going to be a learning process. It's going to be an adjustment period, but the expectation is that all cell phones are away, powered off, away for the entire day. There are some exceptions. If it's necessary to manage health care, there will be exceptions when needed. You'll be able to use your cell phone for translation, or if you are responsible for the well-being of a family member that is at home and you need to have that constant contact, that can also be arranged. You have to come to the principal's office, you have to tell why, you have to have documentation if it's a health service, you have to have documentation if it's for the well-being of a parent or another family member outside that's not at school. Otherwise, all devices are off. We have ways to get on the internet. If you need it for school, every classroom has a Chromebook. So with that, I'll let you guys start with the questions. Go ahead.
Why is the state making this cell phone policy right now?
It's been in the works for quite a while. This is just about kids having a healthy atmosphere to learn in, right? It takes away all that social pressure of social media, but it also allows kids to not get those notifications all day that come through their phone. This allows kids to concentrate. This allows kids to learn to their full potential.
What is going to be the difference between this year's cell phone policy and last year's cell phone policy?
We're going to strictly enforce it this year. There's going to be no exceptions at lunch or study hall or during the day. But the big difference is going to be, it's going to be a strict enforcement this year.
Does this mean students can't have their cell phones at all during the day?
You can have your cell phone in a yonder patch in your possession, in your backpack, in your locker. You just can't have access to the internet or have it powered on during the day.
What if I need to contact my parents during the day?
First thing you would do is come to the main office, and you can call them at any time. You just ask your teacher for a pass. You come down to the guidance office, you can come down to the main office, you come down to the attendance office. There are several places that you can make a phone call. If the only way to get in touch with your parent is using a cell phone, perhaps they have a job where they can't talk, you can unlock, you can come to the main office, you'll be allowed to unlock it, text your parent, and then go back to class. Lock it up again and go back to class.
What if I use my phone for my classwork?
You don't need to. Every classroom has a Chromebook, which has access to the internet, so you will be able to use your Chromebook to do any work that you would have done on your phone.
What happens if someone breaks the rule?
Well, again, it's not meant to be disciplinary. This is meant to create a positive learning environment. The first step will be, you'll have to come down to the office, we'll hold the phone until the end of the day, and you'll get it back at the end of the day. If that continues to happen, you'll again have to come to the office, we'll call parents, and we'll impose a penalty that's warranted. I don't want to say that there's one penalty or another. At this point, a lot of this is circumstantial. But within the first couple weeks, every student should be able to put that cell phone as they walk into the door in their yonder pouch, and it should be away. There should be no reason why they have a phone out.
Is this really going to make a difference?
Personally, I believe it to make a huge difference. I've noticed it with my own kids. I have high school kids as well. They both go to schools where there's no phones allowed. I got to tell you, they have flourished academically. I have not dealt with any drama during the day with that. I noticed at my last school, all cell phones in the middle school had to be in a locker. There was very little, need to go out of the, a lot of times kids would leave classrooms 6 times a day to go into the bathroom to check their phones. That we want to eliminate. So I fully believe that you'll be more engaged with each other, with the teacher, and you'll be able to focus more. I mean, it's a focus issue, right? The distractions have become overwhelming to students.
Can students give feedback on how the policy is working?
Yes, we will have, in January, I typically meet with all the kids the first day of school, each class. I will explain this to the kids, explain the expectations. There will be, there's a student government group. There's different groups that I will visit with throughout the year, go in on their class meetings, ask how they're going, and then establishing relationships with kids. I have a very open door policy. Any kid can come see me anytime. They just have to, as long as I'm not in the middle of a meeting, my door is always open. I will welcome that feedback from all of you guys. And I think, after a couple weeks, you're not even going to notice it. My experience is that it never even comes up. Once you get used to it, it's just part of life.
So I just had one about the kids that are participating in sports. There's frequent changes that happen throughout the school day, either change in location, maybe the kid needs their gear, they forgot something, or they need changing of pickup times, things like that. Would the opportunity be that do they go to the principal's office to make those calls? Is there going to be any issue that, leaving the classroom to conduct those calls?
There will be no issue with the student having to come down. It has to be the appropriate time. We don't want them leaving in the middle of a test. Mm-hmm. But at the appropriate time, they can always come to one of those 4 locations. And again, parents can drop things off that their child may have forgotten at the attendance office. We'll make sure they get that. But the big thing is, there's a lot of change in schedules in sports, right? Things get canceled, things get moved, practice gets canceled. We're going to utilize Parent Square to make sure that we're communicating that right away. So that's an immediate, our athletic director will communicate that immediately, and you really have to make sure that you have that app, you're getting those notifications from a parent standpoint so you know if something's been canceled. Rain happens, or even sunny days, things get canceled, refs don't show up. So we're definitely going to utilize that parent square for sports to make sure parents are aware of any changes that happen.
How are you going to make sure that every phone is going into this pouch?
Well, again, we're not going to be checking pockets and everything. You know, what the students will know that what the expectation is. If the phone comes out, if they get caught with the phone, it will be confiscated. The parents will be called. They'll get it back at the end of the day. We're not into keeping phones. But, you know, I know there are dummy phones, and I know kids have 2 phones. But, you know, after a while, I believe that that will kind of work its way out. I think that initially you'll see that happen the first couple weeks, but, you know, the phones will be taken. And then if they get taken a second time, parents will have to come in and pick it up. You know, and parents work, and sometimes they can't get here for a couple days, and now all of a sudden you're without a phone. So kids will figure out. And you know, if everybody does it, if it's the expectation for every student, I don't think it will be a big deal. I didn't see it be a big deal in the previous districts that I've worked at. Is there always 1 or 2? Yes, there's always 1 or 2. But for the most part, 99% of the kids follow the rules.
For kids that have like mental health problems and anxiety related issues, do you have a plan in place for them that, you know, where they may be using that phone to communicate with their families or, you know? Yes, we'll come up with a healthcare plan like with any type of illness, medical illness. If there's a healthcare plan that needs to be documented, put in their health file, that they need to communicate with their mom twice a day, they need to check in twice a day, they can go to the health office and make that possible. We will make those exceptions, but we just have to have medical documentation of all that. We just can't say, I have a health issue. We have to have medical documentation, and we will make sure that kids, you know, our job is to make sure kids are healthy and happy and learning. And that's the kind of environment and place we want to create here at Catskill. I think it's going to make a huge difference in everybody's lives. I really do. I've seen it. I've lived it. It cuts down on the drama. It allows kids to focus on learning, reach their potentials. They're not worried about the phone going off. They're not worried about leaving the classroom 5, 6 times a day to go check their messages and notifications. I really feel at the end of the day, it's going to be the best for everybody. This is just common sense, right? You're still kids. You're learning. Your brains are developing. Your bodies are developing. The less distractions you have to reach your potential, the better. Emergencies happen. We have contingency plans for all those emergencies. We have 4 different offices that a student can go and make a phone call wherever they feel comfortable. And if it has to come down to the case that they need to text their parent, they just come to the main office, we'll unlock it, and they'll text their parent. We have plenty of secretaries here to answer phone calls from parents. We have an email. We'll have a dedicated email line for parents to communicate through the attendants to get messages to kids. And I think, you know, once everybody gets used to it, it'll be normal. Well, the email addresses that the parents are going to communicate with, if they had any changes, is that going to be published? So
I will put out a letter the first week of August, second week of August, that'll detail the cell phone policy again to parents. That will all go out in a letter. It'll be very detailed, and it'll be on the website so people can reference that. JJ.
Is there going to be anything in place for like the older kids over at our elementary school? So like the 3rd, 4th, 5th graders that like have these devices?
The elementary school follows similar policy. It will be in their backpacks and powered off. If they don't want to leave it in their backpacks, the teacher will collect it in the classroom, have a box, and the kids can leave it in their box in the box during the day. So yeah, similar.
I have a question.
Go
At
ahead.
the end of the day, are they going to give them enough time to get their phone and not miss the bus or anything? You're going to have a lot of kids trying to go home.
So we'll have magnetic devices at all the doors. It's really quick. I mean, they do it at my daughter's high school, and there's, you know, 3,000 kids leaving the school every day, and they all get it done. So, you know, it's a lot quicker, and they get into a routine, and they know exactly where to go and what to do.
Do they retain the pouch?
They do.
At home too? Like when
They
they're
do. They
coming
keep it. Actually, the kids have their pouches from last year. They'll bring them back this year. They'll have the same pouch while they're right through middle school and high school.
How many and where are the access points to unlock the?
They're at every door that leaves the building. So every door every exit where students can leave the building. Now, we try to make sure students leave only in certain doors. That's a safety thing. They all come in 2 doors. They don't need it to lock it. They just close it. But at every door, there are multiple magnets so the kids can unlock it. Okay. And it's really quick. Yeah. It's literally swipe it and go.
What if a kid forgets to unlock it?
That's a good question. If they forget to unlock it, I mean, I can look into that. I'm not sure how you would do it at home. I'd have to look into that. Okay. That only happens once.
Well, I don't want to be on the reciprocating end of that on a Friday afternoon.
I mean, there's always someone in the building. I mean, the custodians are here, cleaning the building on Friday afternoons and the evenings. There's always some access. There's always sports teams going on. The worst case scenario is they would come back and just unlock it. There's always somebody here that can let you in and unlock it, and they're right by the door. But that's a good question. I'm going to look into that if they forget.
So last year, they gave us our phones back at 2:17 to go home, but if you stay after school, they still let you have your phones. Is that going to be different for this school year?
You'll get your phones back when the bell rings at 2:17. Yes. Yep, bell to bell, after school, once the bell rings. If you're staying after school for a club or for sports, you'll have access to your phone. Great questions. Thank you very much. Any feedback, if you hear anything, please email me. I'm always on my email all day long, on my computer, not my phone. But, call the main office, email me. I'm sure things will come up. But remember, this is really being put in place by the governor so that we have the best learning environment that we possibly can have. And I truly believe that this is what's best for everybody. So thank you for your time, everybody, and have a great day. Thanks for coming in.